Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. Subscribe to my channel. I hope you learn from them and that these videos are a blessing unto you. For those that have been watching my channel for a while, I want to introduce a concept, which is a concept, you don't have to agree with it, but I call it praying forward. What do I mean with praying forward? Can I justify it? Now, it comes down to the following. Often, when people pray, they are focused only on a static outcome. For example, it can be that, they need to pay the rent, but they don't know where they missed some money, and now they want to go into prayer to solve the issue. Now, prayer works, and for some reason, it works out that the rent is paid that month. Or let's say that someone has financial difficulty and they just want to get out of the difficulty. Or if someone is jobless and want to get a job, they want to have the outcome that they have a job. Or someone is single, they want to meet a partner. People often focus on instant manifestations. And there's nothing wrong with an instant manifestation. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. But too often, and I say too often, people only focus on that outcome. They don't look any further than that outcome. Okay, I'm going to give an illustration. Those that have been following my channel for a longer period of time, they know I give illustrations to explain what I'm saying. Look, let's say that you have a family, okay? And this family, mother, father, 4 kids, just a common family. They come and live into a neighborhood. There aren't many neighbors because there are only several people living in that block. And now they're praying, let a Christian neighbor come and live with us. They begin to pray that prayer. But here's the thing. Half year later, a family moved in that went to church to read the Bible, had Bible studies at home, so they were happy to have a Christian family. But Christian is a title, and anyone can use that title. Even demons can use the title of Christian. I hope you're aware of that. So they ask for a Christian family. Well, that's a very broad term, Christian family. Do you mean a Reformed family, a Catholic family, an Adventist family? There's all of the category of Christian. And there are also voodoo priests that carry the title of Christian. They think they can combine voodoo with the name of Christ. It can't, but they're deceived. And so now they receive neighbors, but those neighbors, after a year, they begin to persecute and hunt them. And they begin to think, why this happen? We pray for Christian neighbors. Here's the thing. You didn't look any further. In your view, if you pray for a Christian neighbor, you will get people that will be comfortable. And when the family came there, they were comfortable. They said hi to you. So your intention, your prayer manifested. But it was not God's will. Because you relied upon having good community, having good fellowship with other people. And there's nothing wrong with having good fellowship. However, you shouldn't rely upon good fellowship, good in sense it is fellowship that's relieving, fellowship that's supportive. Because when that family came, they supported you. They support you financially, you had Bible study together, so you had a good time. So there was fellowship, and the fellowship was joyful, but it was not in agreement with Christ. So yes, you prayed, and the prayer manifested, but it was not God's will. If that family would have fasted for a while, they would have looked at the bigger picture, they would realize that, hold on a minute, we rely too much on fellowship with other people. We rely too much on finding the right people. Then they would realize they have adultery in their thinking, and then they would renew their mind in agreement with Christ, and then they wouldn't even pray for a Christian neighbor. Because then they would realize that that title Christian, anyone can carry it. So that's what I mean with praying ahead. Praying ahead does not mean that you, by your own strength, try to figure everything out and arrange everything. You can't. You can't. The Most High does not expect you to do that. Okay? Praying ahead simply means looking at the bigger picture and praying in harmony with the bigger picture. For example, that family came over there, they had their house. They saw that there were very few people living in that block. Then they should have asked themselves, hold on a minute, why are so many houses empty? Why are so many houses vacant? That's what they should have asked themselves. But they were so set on they have their house and they wanted to have Christian fellowship. So they prayed for Christian fellowship and they got Christian fellowship. They got what they wanted. What they wanted was not beneficial onto them in the long run. It was a short-term fix. They wanted to have fellowship. They had fellowship, that fellowship that would benefit them in the long run. Okay, let's say someone wants to have friends because they're new in town. They want to connect with people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just go out and look for friends. You have Buddhists praying for friends. You have Hare Krishna followers praying for friends. You have New Agers praying for friends. But they're not in agreement with Christ. So when they pray, who is activated? The paranormal. And the paranormal gives instant manifestations. But you get it already. Someone is new in town. They want to connect with people. And they begin to pray. But their mind is not in line with Christ. What's going to happen? They are going to attract people that will mirror their expectations. But they have expectations they've never evaluated. So now they will attract people. Because they were praying, they will attract people that reflect their expectations and they're happy and those other people are happy. But it's a trap. Look, one example of praying ahead. Praying ahead is a concept. There are other ways of saying it, okay? But I'm using this concept to explain it here. Praying ahead can be like this. Let's say that you come from a background where there was a lot of alcoholism. Okay, let's say you had an uncle that was an alcoholic, your father was an alcoholic, many nephews are alcoholics, but you're not an alcoholic. And you think, okay, I'm fine. Hold on a minute. You came out of that family. That family is dysfunctional. That dysfunction worked out in them in a form of alcoholism. So that visible manifestation you see. And because you see them attached to alcohol and you're not attached to alcohol, you think you're fine. But your esteem here is based on a comparison at their expense to relieve yourself. But it's a trap. You know why? Because those relatives, many of them who are alcoholic, they have unclean spirits around them. But so do you. Because you came out of the same family, out of the same neighborhood. But those demons work themselves out in a different manner. With you, it may not be alcoholism. With you, it can be that those demons are drawing all kinds of desperate, negative-minded people onto you. Now, you are not attracting those people onto you, but those demons that are hanging around you are doing that. And why are those demons hanging around you? Because you still have thinking patterns that you never evaluated. One of them is that you build your esteem based on a comparison between you and other people. That's a trap. But you don't realize it's a trap. That's one of the thinking patterns that enables those demons to hang around you. So that's why you ask yourself, why do I keep encountering these negative-minded, desperate people? And now you begin to reflect on yourself and look what's wrong with you. What are you doing? Your focus on your doing. It's not you doing it. It's the demons doing it, but you don't realize that because you're not even aware that demons are around. And you're not even aware that your thinking may keep demons around you. You get what I'm saying here? So, when you are praying ahead, you agree with Christ, and from Christ's perspective, you look at the circumstance. That's what a lot of people don't do. Because when you pray, even if you pray in the name of Jesus, in the name of the name of Yahushua, or whatever variant of the Messiah's name you use, if you pray in His name, but your mind is not in line with Him, your prayer will be effective. But if you're not in agreement with Christ, that means that the expectations you have are not in agreement with Him either. And that means that those expectations are not in agreement with the supernatural. That means that once those prayers work out, it's the paranormal working out for you, while you think it's the supernatural. Okay, let's say that you want to get a house. I'm just using common examples here. I use the example of getting a house because a lot of people want to have a house because they want to have a family and all of that. Okay, you can pray for a house. You can even pray that you get a job so that you can maintain a house and all of that. Pray ahead. That means look at the bigger picture. You want to have a house somewhere. Okay, you're going to have neighbors around you. You don't know who those people are. They may have generational curses also. They may have wrong thinking patterns also. Or, and let's say if you have kids, those kids are going to grow up and they may want to have a job somewhere. So when you look at the bigger picture of it, you may think, you know what, I'm not going to pray for a house. I'm going to pray that I will have my own business, or that I will have my own business besides my job, and that I will have my own house, so that I will have a capital, so that when my children are grown, they can go to college without taking a student loan, or that they can purchase their own house because I've been active. It's not you gathering a treasure on the earth and saying, okay, I'm going to save money here because now I have money, now I'm safe. It's not what you're doing. Your attitude, I'm talking about the attitude. Your attitude is not anymore that you just want an outcome and, oh, if I just have an outcome, it's all right. No, now you look at what comes along with that outcome. Now you realize, hold on a minute, if I want my own house over there, then children are going to grow older, they're going to leave the house soon, and they're going to have college friends, and they'll need to have a job, they will get in the workplace. Isn't it better if I have my own business and they can also enroll in my business so they can later have their business also, so they have more financial independence from the world? Because if they are dependent of the world supply for their finances, they will have to comply with what the world wants in order for them not to lose their job, and then they will get involved with social clubs and all of that. So you think ahead for your family, and you pray in agreement, you pray in line with that. You're not praying that you become powerful, that you can take care of your kids. You're not focused on self. Just look at the bigger picture. So get what I'm saying. I'm not telling you that you need to become like this big manager that figures everything out. No, I'm talking about your attitude. Too many people, they pray for here. Let's say that here there is a frustration going on. They want this frustration to leave. So they focus on removing that frustration. Okay, so now the frustration has moved. Okay, let me symbolize that for, okay, hold on. Okay, look, let's say this is a frustration over here. Just imagination. Okay, I know this is just an object, but look, this is a frustration over here that bothers people. This is a hindrance, and they want this hindrance to move. So they begin to pray, and in faith, the hindrance is gone. So they think, yay! We begin to rejoice. The hindrance is gone. Okay, but there are a lot of more hindrances here and there that you haven't noticed. But you will only focus on this one. This one you felt, you sensed in your circumstances. So now that one is on the ground, that one is gone, you still have those others around you. But if you look at the bigger picture, if you look from Christ's perspective, you would have noticed all those other strongholds, and you would have operated in faith, and they all would have been dissolved. So now when you're there, you don't have to bother anymore. You're not going to be surprised anymore when something else appears. Because that's what often happens. Hold on. This is what often happens. People are focused on this obstacle over here. It can be a financial one, it can be that people willing against you, or maybe something with your health, whatever. This is a manifestation over here that's hindering them. They want to target it. So in prayer, in fasting, they persistently keep praying until something happens. That's a good thing, and indeed, when you keep praying for something, it happens. Okay? And believers should pray continuously. Pagans pray continuously, but they pray in another way. Believers should also pray continuously. There's nothing wrong with praying all the time. Prayer isn't, as I mentioned before, just begging for some outcome. Prayer has to do with your way of thinking also. So believers ought to pray all the time, because pagans pray all the well, in a ritual manner then. Not in a form of relationship, but in a ritual manner. But we pray all the time also. But okay, let's say this is the obstacle. You keep targeting it and then it's gone. Now you are relieved because the obstacle is gone. And while you are relieved, you rejoice, you think it's over and you've moved on. But what happens often is that people become disoriented. They're so relieved, so happy that the obstacle is gone, that they don't want to think about the obstacle anymore and they lose perspective. For example, it can be now that you have neighbors around you. Let's say you have a neighbor around you that keeps assaulting you, in a sense that they keep bothering you, they lie upon you by calling the cops for you and all that. Let's say that one day you keep on praying, and the corporation that manages the apartments tells you, if you want, we can get another apartment for you. And you say yes, okay, and that's a good thing. You're away from that toxic neighbor and their relatives. But then a minute, you're in a new apartment now, right? You're away from those toxic neighbors. Hold on a minute. All those months or years they were being negative about you, other people agree with them. So they have a whole, a whole support group of people now that are agreeing against you. So yes, you're away from that neighborhood, that's good. But don't get too relieved and think, well, I'm just going to move on with life, get into a daily routine and that's it. Because those other people, I'm not talking about those neighbors, but those other people that agreed with those neighbors, they now have developed a will against you also. And they're not going to give up easily. So it can be that 5, maybe 6, 7 years later, suddenly you will notice dysfunctions around you again. And you have totally forgotten about that neighbor because you've moved on. But because that so-called moving on, without looking at it from the wider perspective, you've lost perspective. Because if you would have looked at the bigger picture, you would have realized, hold on a minute. There's a whole support group that's been developed against me. And those people are personally involved and easily going to give up. So I ought to be on the spiritual fence every day so that all those strongholds are resolved. If you do that in your new apartment, you're not going to notice much anymore. But what happens often is people, once relief settles in and things are at ease and things are working out, they lose perspective, they become stuck at the relief. And that's a far bigger trap than having a dysfunction that keeps irritating you. A lot of times we think it's a dysfunction or the obstacle that's the issue. No. The bigger trap is when there's relief and you lose sight of what's around you. Because you're so relieved, things are working out for you. You've moved on. You don't talk about it anymore. Look, I'm not telling you to live in the past, I'm not telling you to remain in the past. You can't remain in the past. I'm just telling you to be alert. Christ told us to be alert. Christ didn't tell us to be fearful. He didn't tell us to be paranoid. He didn't tell us to be controlling or to be tyrannical. He told us to be alert. And that's what often happens. People lose perspective. And when you lose perspective, you become an easy target and an easy prey. That's why we're told to pray all the time. Okay? Because praying all the time has a good effect on us. And because it has a good effect on us, it also has a good effect on the environment. This is how we are the light of the world. Well, this video has been almost 90 minutes. I just want to emphasize one more thing before I close. I pray ahead. Okay? Yes, there are outcomes here and there that I pray for. Also when I pray on others' behalf. But I pray ahead. Let me say like this. If, for example, you have a cousin or someone who has been beaten by a group of young men, he's a young man himself, has been beaten by a group of people. Let's say it's now over, this group doesn't bother him anymore. That cousin or that needs to overcome what has happened. But those other people around, I don't care what the conflict was, they're still walking around with their negative will, they need to be dealt with. And all the people that agree with them. Because as long as their will is left alone, that cousin may encounter another trouble in the future. And because they have the negative will, they keep meditating negatively upon that cousin. So they need to be dealt with for the long term, so that your cousin will not face psych attacks in the future. A lot of times when people pray for others, they only pray for the direct circumstance. Learn to pray ahead. When you pray ahead, Man, let's have this. When you pray ahead, you're not waiting until Satan strikes. Look, why do you think that when someone has furnished your house, they put a camera, and a security camera at the front door? Why are they doing that? Why? They're doing that to be ahead of criminals. Because they think, what if one day a criminal decides to break in? We're not going to wait till it happens. We're going to put security cameras and we're going to put a strong lock on the door. Those people are thinking ahead. Those are worldly people. I'm not talking about believers now. But worldly people, to some extent, they think ahead. Not always. That's not the default state. Worldly people are easily distracted. But when it comes to relevant things like their house or their passwords, they think ahead. They might design a password that's so difficult nobody's going to guess it. Why? They're not going to make an easy password that someone can just easily guess. I'm not telling you to be inspired by worldly people, because worldly people they don't have the Holy Spirit. But worldly people, on occasion, they are far wiser than some believers. That's why I'm telling you, pray ahead. Don't just look at the now. Look at the forest. Don't just look at the tree. See the forest. Because once you see the forest, you know far better what to pray for. Because too often people only focus on this over here. While this here, and this here, which is also relevant, they don't even notice. And then when you see what's happening, you can be trapped and drained in such a manner. Well, that's it for now. Agree with Christ and be at peace.